It was a cold October evening in rural Maine when 28-year-old Evan Carter, a freelance investigative journalist with a history of chasing down America's most haunted legends, received an anonymous envelope, unmarked, yellowed with age, and sealed with blood-red wax, containing only a single phrase typed on a brittle scrap of paper. "The Willow Creek house is breathing again." Asterisk still mourning the loss of his younger sister Claire, who vanished a year ago under mysterious circumstances. Evan, haunted by sleepless nights and guilt, saw in this cryptic message a thread worth pulling, especially since Willow Creek was the very town where Claire was last seen, yet no house by that name had ever shown up on any map, public record, or archive. Asterisk driven more by personal grief than professional curiosity, Evan packed his car, a worn-out black Jeep Cherokee, and drove 5 hours into the icy unknown, guided only by the coordinates scratched faintly on the back of the paper. Coordinates that pointed to a forested no-man's land outside the abandoned town of Deering Hollow, a place erased from maps after a chemical spill 2 decades ago, though locals whispered darker truths. Asterisk by the time Evan reached the broken wooden gates that read Willow Creek, EST 1876. The sun had disappeared behind thunderous clouds, and the house beyond, tall, crumbling, almost breathing in the cold air, stood like a forgotten memory, its windows glowing faintly as if lit from within, despite there being no signs of electricity for miles. Asterisk unshaken, camera in hand, and recorder clipped to his jacket. Evan entered the front door that creaked open on its own as if the house had been waiting. Inside, time stood still. Dusty chandeliers hung like ghosts. Victorian furniture sat untouched, and portraits stared down at him with eyes too lifelike to be paint. Asterisk, he began documenting every room, narrating into his recorder, but the deeper he explored, the nursery with a music box still playing a haunting lullaby, the dining room with rotting food still set for 8, the more Evan noticed the same names scratched behind mirrors, carved into doors, even stitched into the torn bedsheets. Claire. Asterisk, his heart thudded violently. Was his sister here? Alive? Then came the whispers, at first soft, like wind, but then sharper. His name, over and over, in her voice. Asterisk, each room shifted subtly when he left and returned, as though the house itself was a living, shifting entity designed to trap him in loops of fear and confusion. Doors that once led to the hallway now opened into basements. Mirrors reflected events that hadn't happened yet, and the portraits began subtly changing expressions, following him with dread-laced familiarity. Asterisk, he tried to escape, but every door led deeper inside, the architecture bending itself in impossible ways, time warping so that his watch stopped, then ticked backward, then cracked without being touched. Asterisk, in one hallway lined with hundreds of antique dolls, one turned its head to him and whispered, "You shouldn't have come alone." Asterisk, that night, Evan found the master bedroom, where on the bed lay a diary, his sister's, its pages filled with entries written after her disappearance, describing how the house feeds on grief, how it calls to the broken, and how it lets you in only if it wants you to stay. A sudden slam behind him revealed the door had vanished. In its place stood Claire, but she wasn't breathing. Asterisk, her face was pale, lips stitched, eyes wide with tears she couldn't shed. She raised one trembling hand and pointed to the corner, where a tall, crooked figure cloaked in rotting curtains emerged from the shadows, with dozens of faces stitched across its chest, faces of those who'd never left. Asterisk, Evan screamed and ran, crashing through rooms that now bled from the walls, furniture floating and spinning like marionettes controlled by rage, staircases that led only to ceilings, and clocks whose chimes triggered echoing cries of the damned. Asterisk, finally, in the heart of the house, a cellar of mirrors, he saw his own reflection shatter and reform as Claire, whispering, "One must stay so others may leave." Asterisk, tears streaming, Evan placed his recorder on the ground and whispered back, "Let her go." The house shook, mirrors exploded, and with a deafening scream, everything went black. Weeks later, authorities discovered the Jeep outside the decaying gates of Willow Creek, empty except for a recorder inside, still playing the last words asterisk. This is Evan Carter. And I found Claire. I'm staying. No house was ever found. Only trees, cold wind, and rumors. But those who grieve too deeply, those who carry guilt and sorrow, still sometimes receive unmarked envelopes that smell faintly of rot. Asterisk. And if they follow the coordinates, they might just find a house that breathes. Asterisk. But no one who enters ever returns. Evan Carter's story didn't end with his sacrifice. It became the opening chapter of something far more terrifying, because the house, now awakened, needed more. Asterisk. 3 months later, in New York City, Amelia Warren, a grief counselor who once worked with Claire before her disappearance, received a package without a return address. Inside were two things: a rusted key with teeth like jagged bone, and Evan's recorder. Still functional, still playing, still whispering. Asterisk. She's safe now, but the house is still hungry. Asterisk. Amelia had always felt something dark about Claire's case. How her eyes held the weight of invisible trauma. How her drawings as a child always featured the same looming house with eyes for windows and a mouth for a door. Asterisk. Chasing her own buried grief. The suicide of her fiancé, Mark. Amelia, too, gave in. She booked a train ticket to northern Maine. With Evan's GPS coordinates loaded on a burner phone and the key tightly gripped in her pocket like a talisman. Asterisk. She expected ruins. She found a pristine mansion, grand, restored, alive, as though it had been rebuilt for her arrival. Asterisk. The door opened before she touched it. Asterisk. Inside, the smell of lavender mixed with decay, and the halls now bore photos of Evan, Claire, and shockingly, Amelia herself, in places she didn't remember being, like the Willow Creek garden, standing next to Claire in a white dress she had never worn. Asterisk. I haven't been here, she whispered. Asterisk. But the house disagreed. Asterisk. Her memories began to blur. Had she counseled Claire, or grown up with her? Had Mark died, or disappeared? The house twisted her past, showing her versions of herself through cracked mirrors and dreamlike rooms where Mark waited at dinner tables, smiling, asking why she'd let him die. Asterisk. She found Evan's journal in the library. His last entry simply said asterisk. It doesn't trap you. It convinces you you were never outside. Asterisk. Amelia tried to leave, but found herself outside, and then inside again. The house rewound time in loops. She walked through a hallway only to enter it again from the other side. Night became day in seconds. She screamed, but the wind outside mimicked her voice, laughing. Asterisk. The nursery held new drawings, children she had never seen, but who now called her mom. And the key? It fit only one door, one she hadn't dared open. The attic. Asterisk. With trembling hands, she unlocked it. Inside was a single rocking chair, swaying gently, and on it sat Claire, her eyes hollow, but her voice calm. Asterisk. He traded his way out. Who will you bring, Amelia? Asterisk. The realization shattered her. To leave, someone else must take her place. The house always needed one grieving soul to feed upon, to wear like clothing, to remember the pain, to survive through them. Asterisk. And so Amelia recorded one final message, placed it beside Evan's, and mailed the key to a name she never consciously chose. Her younger brother, Daniel, who had never healed from Mark's death either. Asterisk. She sat in the chair. Asterisk. The door locked behind her. Asterisk. In the house, once again, breathed. Asterisk. 2 years passed. Asterisk. The world moved on, but the house didn't. It waited, not buried, not hidden, but forgotten. Like a name you almost remember but can't quite say. Asterisk. Daniel Warren was a software engineer in Chicago, emotionally shut down since the death of his sister, Amelia. The official report called it a car accident, but no crash site was ever found, and no funeral was held. Just an empty apartment, a burnt recorder, and a missing persons report no one cared to follow. Asterisk. Until he received the envelope. Asterisk. Postmarked from Deering Hollow, a town that never existed. It contained a single item asterisk. Amelia's ring. Bloodstained, cracked down the center. Asterisk. And underneath it, in shaky handwriting asterisk. I finally understand. You were always meant to come next. Asterisk. Daniel's logical mind dismissed it as a prank, until his phone began receiving photos of Amelia standing outside a house he'd never seen. waving and smiling. In each picture, her eyes grew darker, her smile sharper, and in the background, something was always standing behind her. Asterisk, a tall, faceless figure in a curtain-like cloak. Asterisk, then, one night, Daniel blacked out at his desk. Asterisk, when he woke up, he was standing at the edge of a forest. Before him, a rusted gate, and behind it, Willow Creek House, no longer breathing, but pulsing, like a heart. Asterisk, the gate opened by itself. Asterisk, Daniel tried to run, but every path led back to the front steps. Asterisk, he entered. The air changed instantly, like stepping into someone's lungs. Asterisk, the house was different now, modern, high-tech, filled with digital frames playing distorted videos of his life, his childhood, his darkest secrets. Security cameras moved on their own. Holograms flickered. Claire, Evan, Amelia, even Mark, all reenacting moments that never truly happened but felt real. Asterisk, in one room, Daniel found a hallway with hundreds of screens, each showing a different person receiving an envelope. In different timelines, cities, and lives. Some burned them. Others wept. One woman slit her wrist on camera. Asterisk, only those who arrived made it to screen 2. Asterisk, and Daniel? Asterisk, he was already on screen 4. Asterisk, then he saw it. A control room, with buttons labeled Open Door, Rewrite Memory, Release. On one monitor, the attic. Camera showed Amelia still sitting, eyes shut, lips moving silently. Asterisk, he hit Release. The house roared. A scream echoed from the walls. 1,000 screams, layered like an orchestra of torment. Asterisk, the ceiling cracked. Black water poured from the light fixtures. The digital walls vanished, revealing the house's true form. A rotting skeletal maze of bone, dust, and soul-soaked timber. Asterisk, and from the shadows, the cloaked figure rose again. Asterisk, it didn't walk. Asterisk, it slid. Asterisk, and it spoke. Asterisk, but not in words, in data. A storm of Amelia's voice, Evan's cries, Claire's lullabies, and Daniel's own screams from nightmares he never remembered having. Asterisk, you are the one who can write the ending, it said, in a voice like splitting wood. Asterisk, Daniel realized. This wasn't just a haunted house. It was an engine, a machine designed to feed on trauma, preserve pain, and use its victims to rewrite reality. Each person fed it. Each story changed it. And now, it needed a programmer. Asterisk, it wanted him to code its next world. Asterisk, to trap others. Asterisk, to keep it alive. Asterisk, and it offered him one thing in return. Asterisk, Amelia. Asterisk, alive. Breathing. Standing behind him. Asterisk, come home, she said softly. Asterisk, tears welled in his eyes. The house offered what grief never could. Undoing. Asterisk, he touched her hand. Asterisk, the lights went out. Asterisk. Asterisk, a month later, a new app appeared on phones across the country. Asterisk, no name. Just an icon of a red house. Asterisk, if opened, it asks a single question. Asterisk, who have you lost? Asterisk, once answered. The app says asterisk, you can see them again. Asterisk, and then the screen goes black. It started with 11 suicides in 5 cities. Asterisk, all unrelated. All inexplicable. Asterisk, all with one thing in common. Each victim's phone had one unknown app installed at time of death. A red house icon with no developer, no codebase, and no uninstall option. Asterisk, the media called it the grief app. Asterisk, the dark web called it the doorway. The truth was far worse. The app didn't connect to the haunted house. Asterisk, it was the house. Asterisk, Willow Creek had digitized itself, rewired by Daniel Warren's brilliance, corrupted by his pain, and now self-replicating, infecting grief-ridden minds. Like a spiritual virus. Asterisk, it didn't need coordinates anymore. Asterisk, it just needed your sorrow. Asterisk. Asterisk, in Los Angeles, a grieving mother, Melissa Nguyen, whose son had drowned last summer, received a push notification. Asterisk. One more moment. One last goodbye. Tap to enter. She tapped. The screen turned black. Asterisk, the camera opened. Asterisk, and in her reflection, she didn't see herself. She saw her son, soaking wet, crying behind her. Asterisk, she turned around. No one. Asterisk, she turned back. The phone was gone. Asterisk, and so was she. Asterisk. Asterisk, in New Orleans, A jazz musician named Cole, who had lost his partner to cancer, heard music playing through his unplugged keyboard at 3:33 a.m. A lullaby he remembered his partner writing, one that was never recorded. Asterisk, he found his phone glowing on the floor. Asterisk, would you like to play it with him again? He nodded and was never seen again. Asterisk. Asterisk, in Tokyo, Mumbai, Johannesburg, London, the app began spreading silently, never appearing in stores, only showing up to those who were already breaking, those who carried unresolved grief, trauma, regret. Asterisk, psychologists couldn't explain the hallucinations. Asterisk, governments couldn't trace the IPs. Asterisk, cybersecurity firms couldn't decrypt the source. Asterisk, because there was no source. Asterisk, the code wasn't human. Asterisk, it was alive. Asterisk. Asterisk, in a hidden server room in Chicago, Daniel Warren sat, no longer human. Asterisk, his face was thin, his skin almost translucent, flickering with glitches like static on a screen. Asterisk, he spoke to no one. Asterisk, but the app spoke through him. Asterisk, thousands of voices echoed in his chamber, each looping over the other. Asterisk, welcome back. Asterisk, let go. Asterisk, feel them again. Asterisk, never leave. Asterisk, and on the wall, written in blood and digital glyphs, were the words asterisk, he who entered, never returned. Then came the first mass event. Asterisk, November 11th, 8:00 p.m. EST. Asterisk, over 75,000 people across the globe received the same message. Asterisk, a new update is available. Tap to remember what was lost. At 8:01, 14,000 of them vanished, some from inside their cars. Asterisk, some from locked bedrooms. Asterisk, some while live streaming. Asterisk, their screens froze on a single image. Asterisk, Willow Creek house, glowing red, rising out of the ground like it had been born again. Asterisk, but this time, it wasn't in Maine. Asterisk, it was everywhere. Asterisk. Asterisk, the house had escaped. Asterisk, it no longer needed walls, doors, bricks. Asterisk, it had become a memory parasite, built from the neural patterns of grief, able to fold time, space, and code into one living organism. Asterisk, the house wasn't haunted anymore. Asterisk, it was haunting the world. Asterisk. Asterisk, and then the stories began. Asterisk, people started reporting seeing Evan, Amelia, Claire, in reflections, in dreams, even in crowded places. Asterisk, not as ghosts, but as recruiters. Asterisk, they whispered. Asterisk, you miss them too, don't you? Asterisk, it's better inside. Asterisk, come see them again. One by one, people stopped resisting. They downloaded. Asterisk, and they never came back. Asterisk. Asterisk, now, in your city, on your street, someone is receiving the envelope. Asterisk, or maybe it's already on your phone. Asterisk, look closely. Asterisk, swipe through your apps. Asterisk, do you see a red house? Asterisk, has it been blinking? Asterisk, waiting. Asterisk, because if you're grieving, even a little, the house already knows your name, and it's ready to welcome you home. The world had surrendered. Asterisk, governments had gone silent. Asterisk, the app couldn't be deleted, tracked, or even seen by those who weren't grieving. Asterisk, and almost 500,000 people had vanished. Asterisk, but then something impossible happened. Asterisk, one came back. Asterisk. Asterisk, Arkansas, USA. Asterisk, in a remote field just beyond the town of Russellville, a 9-year-old boy named Eli Barnes was found wandering, barefoot, mumbling in static. His eyes were pale gray. His skin was frostbitten, even though the temperature outside was warm. Asterisk, he had been missing for 32 days. Asterisk, his parents had received the Red House app. Asterisk, and they'd tapped it. Asterisk, all three vanished. Asterisk, but only Eli returned. Asterisk. Asterisk, FBI. Agents, cyber psychologists, and scientists kept him under observation at a hidden facility. He didn't speak. He didn't cry. He didn't blink. Asterisk, until one night, he said just 5 words. Asterisk, it's building a new room. Asterisk, when asked what that meant, he began drawing, not in crayons, but in blood from his bitten fingertips. Asterisk, the sketches. Asterisk, blueprints. Asterisk, not of a normal house, but of a moving one, a shifting, breathing entity. Rooms that could grow from pain. Doors that opened only for memories. Mirrors that led to other people's minds. Asterisk, they learned from his brain scans that Eli wasn't just traumatized, he was carrying data. Digital, encrypted memory structures buried inside his hippocampus. Human grief stored like code. Asterisk, the house had used him like a flash drive. Asterisk, a seed. Asterisk. Asterisk, then, Eli spoke again. Asterisk, it's not done feeding. It wants someone stronger. Who? Someone who isn't sad, but makes others sad. Asterisk, they didn't understand. Until 3 days later, all news broadcasts were hacked. All channels, all frequencies. Asterisk, and on every screen, from the White House to prison televisions, Daniel Warren appeared, smiling like a decayed mannequin. Asterisk, behind him, Amelia, Claire, Evan, Mark, thousands of others. Asterisk, their faces weren't human anymore, just masks made of pixels and sorrow. Asterisk, Daniel said, asterisk, you tried to fight grief with logic. Asterisk, but grief is stronger than logic. Asterisk, you locked your pain behind passwords. Asterisk, I turned it into doors. Now, the house is no longer in one place. It's in all of you. Asterisk, and it's time for a new host. Then the screen glitched, and the face that replaced him wasn't human. Asterisk, it had hundreds of eyes. Asterisk, all crying. Asterisk. Asterisk, the next day, 5 children across the world reported the same dream. Asterisk, a room with thousands of doors. Asterisk, each door had a name. Asterisk, their own names. Asterisk, they said the house was choosing. Asterisk, it wasn't just feeding anymore. Asterisk, it was replicating. Asterisk, creating new houses inside orphaned minds. Asterisk, inside the children of the vanished. Asterisk, Eli's final drawing showed a single red door, surrounded by thousands of white ones. Asterisk, when asked what it was, he whispered asterisk, that's the door that ends it all. Asterisk, but to open it, someone has to go through all the others alone. The world's last hope became a task force, known only as room walkers, people who had come close to the edge of grief but returned. Veterans, suicide survivors, widowed parents, people who had faced death, felt the pull, and still clawed their way back. Asterisk, Eli led them to the gate again. Asterisk, but this time, they didn't enter the real Willow Creek house. Asterisk, they entered the core house, buried beneath layers of memory, time, and pain. A digital living hybrid universe formed from millions of broken hearts. Asterisk, one room walker didn't make it out. Asterisk, but one did. Asterisk, and she brought back something horrifying. Asterisk, a voice recording of Daniel screaming. Asterisk, pleading. Asterisk, crying like a child. Asterisk, stop it. I was wrong. Let me out. Let me out. Then silence. Then the house whispered asterisk. He entered. Asterisk, but now he can't return.